Once upon a time, in a lush, green forest, there lived a confident rabbit named Ricky and a wise tortoise named Ted. They were the best of friends despite their differences, and they often spent their days exploring the enchanting woods together. However, Ricky was known to be a little boastful about his speed. "I am the fastest creature in the entire forest," Ricky would proclaim, his fluffy tail twitching with excitement. Ted would smile with a knowing nod, never once challenging his friend. One sunny day, as they sat under the shade of a towering oak tree, Ricky hopped up with a glint in his eyes. "Let's race, Ted," he proposed, eager to prove his agility once more. Ted gazed at his friend, then softly replied, "All right, Ricky, I'll race you." The news of the race spread like wildfire, and soon all the woodland creatures gathered to watch. Mr. Owl, the wisest of them all, was chosen to be the referee. The race would begin from the grand oak tree and wind through the forest until they reached the meadow's edge. On the day of the race, a colorful crowd assembled. Chirping birds and chattering squirrels lined the path, while the butterflies fluttered about in anticipation. "On your marks, get set, go." Mr. Owl hooted, and immediately Ricky dashed off, a blur of white and brown. Ted, however, started his journey with slow determination, his shell shining under the morning sun. Ricky glanced back and chuckled, convinced he could win easily. As the race went on, Ricky decided to take a nap under a shady bush by the riverbank. While Ricky snoozed, Ted continued on his steady path. His leg muscles ached, but his mind was firm. "Slow and steady wins the race," Ted reminded himself, encouraging his plodding pace through the winding trails between the trees. The shadows began to lengthen as the sun ambled across the sky. Ted was nearing the finish line when Ricky awoke with a start. Realizing his nap had been far longer than intended, he jumped up and sprinted ahead with all his might. But, to his utter shock, when Ricky emerged into the meadow, he saw Ted, sweating albeit smiling, slowly but surely crossing the finish line amid the cheers of the celebratory forest animals. Ricky hung his head, his cheeks burning with embarrassment. I didn't expect that," he stuttered. The applause was deafening, and Ted, ever humble, shuffled over to Ricky. "Winning isn't everything, my friend," said Ted gently. "It's about perseverance and the journey. You will always be swift, but remember, life isn't always a race to the finish." The words sank deep into Ricky's heart, and he lifted his head. A new respect for Ted filled his bright eyes. "I understand, Ted," Ricky said. "Thank you for teaching me an important lesson today." From that day on, Ricky and Ted became even better friends. Ricky learned the value of patience and persistence, while Ted enjoyed the adventures with his now humbled companion. The race that day wasn't just a competition. It was a tale woven through time and whispers to remind everyone in the forest that there are many ways to reach your goals.